I was burned out from the mental part of it. It was hard to look myself in the mirror in the morning because what we were doing was simply wrong. I knew something had to be done.
At the end of everyone's lives, you're facing three questions. Did you truly live? Did you love? And did your life make the world a better place? A qui tam attorney is somebody who represents a whistleblower. We call them relators. These are people who step into the shoes of the federal government and they actually take on the role of prosecuting civil fraud actions. And our role as a qui tam attorney is to assist them along that process.
We actually help two parties in the lawsuit. One, first and foremost, we help our clients, employees who come to us for representation, who have observed fraud, who typically have been retaliated against for speaking out against the fraud. Our first and foremost priority is to represent them and defend them against whatever action their companies will take. We also represent the federal government because the way the law is set up, our client is filing the lawsuit on behalf of the government. We prepare and investigate these cases on behalf of our clients, which eventually are filed in federal court under seal. So we're very proud of that fact. It is an opportunity to have a public-private partnership between our client and the government.
That public-private partnership is the key. The government has limited time, money, and resources, and the private bar and the qui tam attorneys and the qui tam whistleblowers themselves are able to supplement the resources of the government to truly ferret out the best cases of fraud on the government. And that public-private partnership begins from the beginning the case is filed all the way through settlement.
It's a very synergistic relationship. We are able to work very effectively with government to further a common goal, which is to bring back money to the taxpayers.
We have a huge responsibility, not only to the client, but to society as well. This could be a life-changing event. They could be the breadwinner of their family, and this represents an opportunity for them to bring fraud to the attention of the government. At the same time, there's definitely a risk involved. We're really their lifeline in a situation where they've put everything on the line.
We owe them more than we can give, so we give 100%. These are typically very courageous, strong individuals who need our help, and we are so happy to be able to provide that. Our philosophy is we take very few cases each year so that we can focus all of our attention on the cases that we do take.
The government only intervenes in a small percentage, usually between 23 to 25%. We evaluate the case very carefully and make sure that we have a high degree of confidence that the government will be interested. So we really only take those cases on that represent a material loss to the government.
We make sure that the potential whistleblower truly wants to go down this road, that they understand that it's going to be a long marriage. We want them to understand the potential roadblocks or obstacles that are ahead. The second thing that we do is we want to understand the case. Is this truly fraud or is this negligence? If it's fraud, those are the cases we're interested in. We're interested in company-wide fraud that's driving profits against patient safety.
From the point that we decide that the scale is tipped in favor of we're going to get behind the case, I liken it to a full court press. All of our resources are focused on that individual client or those several clients.
These cases can take 2, 5, 10 years to proceed completely through the litigative pipeline. And at every stage of that pipeline, we're actively investigating the case, making sure that we have a full understanding of the fraud. We take on a primary responsibility of fleshing out the case for the federal government through a thing known as the disclosure memo and a complaint to help them understand the case, but also to recognize the scope and the breadth of the case and the potential for recovering.
We practice and focus on healthcare because we know healthcare and healthcare fraud inside and out.
These are the cases that are most personal to us. It affects people most directly. This is the area where we've published articles, we've done research, and we've been most successful.
The attorneys in our law firm all have varied backgrounds, have deep fraud backgrounds, policy backgrounds with regard to the False Claims Act and the Ketan provisions. Marcella Auerbach comes from the federal government. She's a long-term, long-tenured, very successful federal prosecutor. She is not afraid to stand up for what's right and to assert the rights of our client in any situation. She's an excellent tactician from the standpoint of strategy when we're in litigation, and she's an excellent negotiator. We're very pleased to be partners with Jeb White. He is one of the most effective advocates for the False Claims Act and the Ketan provisions. He has been a very effective leader at Taxpayers Against Fraud. I call him Professor White because he actively lectures other attorneys in our area. When Jeb's on the case, we know we're going to get great advocacy. So I'm very proud of my partners and the attorneys in this law firm. We're all, down to every employee, very passionate about representing these individuals who have such amazing courage.
They're our heroes. They have chosen to take the risk. They are different from everybody else. Since the case is under seal, we're the only ones they talk to, or their immediate families. And so oftentimes we are the sister, the mother, the father, the friend, the confidant of our clients because they go through a lot through this period.
Exposing the fraud is only just a small part of what these courageous individuals do. It's a matter of principle. It's just because this is the right thing to do, which is actually how we practice law. We look at everything from the standpoint of, is it the right thing to do? Is it right for our client? Is it right for our country? Is it right for our law firm?
When a case settles, oftentimes there's a dollar amount attached to it. The defendants are paying X back to the federal government. That dollar amount, to a large extent, is irrelevant to our clients because they didn't file it for the money, by and large. They filed it to change an industry that had turned a blind eye to regulations, to patient safety. There's no greater honor than to recognize that you're making a difference and protecting people who don't know that they need protection. Too often, these cases go on for years, and there's products on the market that are defective. But at the end of the day, when you see that something, for example, has been taken off the market, or an industry has to change its ways because of a False Claims Act, Ketan action, there's no dollar amount that can replace that feeling.